Well, as Ben Franklin said, it's a republic, madam, if you can keep it, and we're in danger of losing it. I know I've got Christian friends that say, Louis, we don't have to worry. God's in control. He was in control. I agree, but he was in control when the Israelites said, we want a king. He said, that's not a good idea. You don't know what you're asking, but if you're demanding it, all right, I'll let you have it. It was bad for him. He was in control when Israel split. He was in control when Israel fell and the southern kingdom, Judah, fell. He's been in control when every great nation has fallen. And someday, I'm hoping it's hundreds of years from now, but it could be 10 or 20, God will be in control then. But he lets us suffer the consequences most of the time of bad judgment. And we have been engaged in a lot of bad judgment that has hurt our country. And so it is critical that we stand up for what we have before we lose it all. And under this president, we have had an administration that didn't care about the law. I mean, we've become like the country that so many Hispanics have had to flee because their leaders just ignored the law and did whatever they wanted to or what they were bought off to do. And now our leaders are acting like that. I just disregard the law. Well, Congress hadn't passed a law I won't, so I'll just make up my own. I mean, where are we living? It's the United States, but it looks like something else the way we're being governed. And then to find out, we've got the federal government spying on us. You know, Matt Salmon said, well, thank goodness we finally have a president who will listen to us. Yeah, the administration is listening to everything, but they're listening to us. Then we find out the Consumer Protection Group, now they're grabbing everybody's financial information. You got them getting the telephone information. All of that from an administration that has said clearly, we're not going to follow any laws we don't like. That's the kind of thing that happens toward the end of a country's existence. There are so many of these mile markers we're passing that if you study great civilizations toward the end, that this is what they do. And just complete lack of consideration for the law. And if you go back and look at the Declaration of Independence, why this country was founded, why it pulled away from England, one of the major grievances was they ignore the law, do whatever they want to. The king does, and it's outrageous. And now our king currently is ignoring the law.
If he's ruling by blog post and unilateral decisions, as he did with the healthcare mandate, as he did with the DREAM Act, what's the remedy? What can be done?
The remedy is for American people, rise up, not in violence, but rise up and make your voice be heard to your representative, to your senator, to your president. If you continue in this course, then we will make sure that nobody from your party, you particularly, will not be in office any further. That is what was intended. And so that's what has to be done. But I can tell you, if the American public does not rise up and allow their voices to be heard over the absolute outrageous, in some ways corruption, other ways just tyranny, then we're going to lose this republic.
Do you think the House leadership is on the same page as your constituents?
No, that's definitely not the case. And, you know, I don't ascribe any ill motive to our leadership. And in fact, in our immigration conference, I won't go into specifics that are discussed, but on the one hand, it is kind of nice to be dealing with people who are naive and innocent and can't accept the fact that they'll be violated over and over again, just as they keep thinking all of a sudden this administration is going to start following the law and doing what we say if we pass a new law. I mean, they've ignored contempt of Congress. They've ignored demands, subpoenas. They've ignored the truth when it was asked for. They've ignored all kinds of things. Fast and Furious, somebody probably should be going to jail for that. But all these years later, we still can't get to the bottom of it. So we have people who are wonderful people, but they think, well, if we just keep being nice, maybe everything will be better. And the trouble is, as Franklin pointed out, you know, you've got to defend this. And the Declaration of Independence says we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And most of us believe that. Among those, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Not happiness, but the opportunity to pursue it. But the trouble is, it is an endowment. It's an inheritance. And like any inheritance, any of us were to leave our children or any parent left us, if you are not willing to defend it, you're not going to keep your endowment. You're not going to keep your inheritance. And eventually you get to a generation that doesn't defend it and it goes away. And that will eventually happen someday here in America. But I hope and pray that it is not any time while I'm alive.